Women don't test men to be difficult. They don't test because they enjoy creating tension or because they want control. Women test for a simple psychological reason: to understand who a man really is beneath the surface, not who he claims to be, not who he tries to be, but who he is when pressure is applied, when things are unclear, and when the emotional environment shifts. Today, we will break down the psychology behind these tests, why women do them, what they reveal, and why men often misinterpret them completely. Let's begin with something fundamental. Testing is not manipulation. It is instinct. Testing is part of female evolutionary psychology, a subconscious mechanism used to evaluate a man's emotional strength, consistency, and reliability, not his dominance, not his wealth, not his appearance, but his internal stability, which is the foundation of long-term attraction for women everywhere. The first type of test is boundary testing. A woman may make a small request, ignore a minor agreement, or express a challenging opinion just to see how the man responds. Not because she wants conflict, but because she needs to understand his internal frame. Women don't respect men who are rigid. They also don't respect men who are overly accommodating. A man who cannot hold a boundary without anger or anxiety signals emotional immaturity. What the woman looks for is simple. Can he maintain himself when faced with resistance? Men mistakenly believe the woman wants the test to be passed in her favor, but what she actually wants is evidence of emotional stability. The second type of test is consistency testing. Women notice patterns quickly. When a man changes depending on her mood, her tone, her approval, or her reaction, she interprets this as weakness, not flexibility, not kindness, weakness. A consistent man maintains his calm regardless of the emotional climate. Women test consistency because it reveals the man's center. A centered man doesn't react to emotional turbulence. He responds with clarity, and that clarity creates trust. The third type of test is emotional pressure testing. A woman might distance herself slightly. She may show colder behavior. She may become less responsive for a short period. Men interpret this as rejection. Often it is not. This is where many men fail. They chase. They panic. They over-communicate. They seek reassurance. But what the woman is actually observing is this: does he collapse under emotional pressure, or does he remain grounded? Women don't need men to be emotionally numb. They just need men who don't use women's emotions as their source of stability. The fourth type of test is leadership testing. Women will sometimes step into the leadership role temporarily. They may challenge a plan, question a decision, or take initiative. This does not mean they want dominance. What they want is clarity, direction, confidence. A woman tests a man's leadership not because she wants control, but because she wants to know whether he can provide structure in moments when she cannot. The fifth type of test is emotional honesty testing. A woman might ask a question that feels uncomfortable. She may express a doubt. She may bring up a difficult topic. She isn't looking for a perfect answer. She's looking for authenticity. Men who react with defensiveness, irritation, or avoidance signal insecurity. Men who respond with calm honesty signal emotional maturity. The sixth type of test is patience testing. A woman may delay responding. She may question his intentions. She may take longer to open up emotionally. This test is not about time. It's about pace. Women want to ensure a man is not driven by impulse, neediness, or ego. Patience reveals whether the man's interest is grounded or reactive. The seventh type of test is reliability testing. A woman may observe how a man handles responsibilities, time commitments, or unexpected challenges. She isn't measuring his performance, she is measuring his reliability. A reliable man creates emotional safety. Women test this instinctively because reliability predicts long-term partnership success. The 8th test is confidence testing. Women challenge men in small ways to see whether they stay centered or become insecure. Confidence is not arrogance, it is emotional steadiness. When a man reacts with jealousy, over-explaining, or self-doubt, the test fails. When he responds with calm assurance, the test is passed. The 9th test is self-respect testing. Women will sometimes push boundaries unintentionally, not to disrespect the man, but to see whether he respects himself. A man who allows disrespect, no matter how small, signals that he lacks self-protection. And women do not trust men who cannot protect themselves emotionally. Finally, the deepest test of all is resilience testing. Life brings stress, uncertainty, conflict, and pressure. A woman observes how a man handles setbacks, not whether he avoids pain, but whether he moves through it with integrity. Resilience is the core masculine trait women seek subconsciously. It is the foundation of trust, respect, and attraction. Here is the truth men must understand. Women do not test to judge. They test to understand, to feel safe, to see who a man truly is beyond the surface. Tests are not traps. They are mirrors. And most men fear the mirror because it reflects not the woman, but themselves. The solution is not to avoid tests, resent them, or react to them. The solution is to develop internal stability so strong that tests become irrelevant. Because a stable man does not perform. He does not pretend. He does not adjust himself for approval. He simply exists in his strength, and that is what women trust the most. When a man learns to remain grounded, consistent, and emotionally centered, tests stop feeling like challenges. They become reflections of connection. Women test not because they want control, but because they want certainty. And certainty is the very thing men create when they lead themselves well. Understanding these patterns transforms relationships. It removes confusion, reduces conflict, and deepens trust. Because at the core, women don't test to push men away. They test to find the man who won't walk away from himself.